What's good, YouTube? Hope you're doing well. Today is the 5th of November, and we're going to do the forecast for the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th of November. Okay, so today we're going to start up with GBPJPY. We're going to look at GJ. We're going to look at gold. We're going to look at NASDAQ, and then we're going to look at DXY. GJ, gold, DXY. Okay, cool. So let's start on the monthly time frame. So obviously the month just started. So we're going to take a look at how we would be expecting the monthly candlestick to close, what activities or what price action we can look forward to in the month of November. Obviously the market is slowing down. I wouldn't be taking every single trade I come across, only high probability setups. So without wasting any time, let's mark up our charts quickly for the month of November. Okay. I'm going to put those as my highs and my lows. Okay. So from the monthly time frame, what I'm basically seeing right now is that I'm seeing buys. Okay, so we can see that the market came in as an impulsive phase. Here we do have a high, we have a low. The market is respecting that area, and we're creating some kind of a range in here. I don't know when and how it's going to break out, but from the monthly time frame, we can safely say that we are currently bullish. Okay, we've got a hammer candlestick that pushed off the support, this monthly time frame support. So let's just label that quickly. And we know that when we see a reversal candlestick pattern, this is one candlestick pattern. Obviously, we got one, we can have two, we can have three. This is one. We've got a hammer at that support area over here. So we can expect the market to actually push up from this month. Okay, so the month of November, we're looking for buys on GBPJPY. Let's go on to a weekly time frame and see if it is also supporting what we are seeing from a monthly time frame perspective. So we've got monthly time frame buys. Let's take a look at the weekly time frame. I do see that the market is creating sort of an ascending channel, which could result as a reversal pattern. But for now, let's just put it as that. So we have the monthly saying buys. We've got the weekly time frame. So I'm going to put this as weekly TF trend line. I'll put this at 10. And that's fine. Okay, so we've got the resistance trend line. We've got the support trend line. So we can see that from this point here, the monthly time frame we're saying we're currently in buys. Weekly time frame, you can see you've got an impulsive movement and you've got the market creating a reversal pattern over here. So we're expecting one more push to the upside. On the weekly time frame, what else can you guys see? Let me do this. Okay, weekly time frame, we can see we've got a break of structure in this area here. So we've got the weekly time frame break of structure here. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to draw it as a zone here, because at the same time, what do we see? We also see a double bottom here. So we might have a situation where GBPJPY might continue coming up and then come back and retest and then go up again. But obviously that depends on how impulsive the phase is on a daily time frame. So for now, all I'm going to do is just mark up these highs that were broken, just in case GBPJPY comes and gives us a retest and then pushes to the upside. If this does happen, this means that for this week, this coming week from the 6th until the 10th, what I would be looking for, I'd be looking for a bottom wick, for the market to create a bottom wick, and then the market to continue going to the upside. Okay, weekly time frame, I don't want to ignore this. I do have a weekly time frame resistance here. So like I said, it is a high probability that the market might actually come down back here for a retest to create a higher low, and then the market can continue to the upside. What this would just mean is a confirmation of trend, because as you can see, when the market was going down here, it was breaking structure to the downside. We broke structure here, created a downtrend. The market created a double bottom, which is a reversal pattern. The market then broke these highs. We're now switching to uptrend, and then the market will continue pushing to the upside. So that's what I mean when I say that if we do reach this resistance, depending on how the market reaches this resistance, from a daily time frame in 4H, we might actually be looking at some good sells, and then the market would push to the upside. Weekly time frame, this is neat. We can see that we have a form of an inverse head and shoulders pattern. If I draw it, just the structure itself, not paying attention to every single high and low, I'll be looking at something like this. All right, and then looking for it to come back into these areas over here. Okay. Now, if we see the structure from a daily time frame, we can see that here we were stuck in a range. All right. So if I delete everything for 2 seconds, what can you see? Here you had a resistance area. All right. And then here you had a support area. So this would have counted as my left shoulder, as I had done previously with the inverse head and shoulders pattern. So my right shoulder would be like this. Sorry, we've got a breakout here. We have a retest. Friday was a perfect time to buy, and you can see how the market has continued to the upside from that perspective. So let's just go back and do this. Okay, now if you look at that resistance area that we drew on the weekly time frame, this resistance area here, this breakout structure area, we can see that the market has already retested this area here. So we can see that the market is in an uptrend. So what I would be looking for this week on GBPJPY, not necessarily a retest back into these areas here, but I might be looking for a retest back here, just for it to continue with the highs and the lows, all right? Because we're already in an uptrend here. If the market then does come back below here now, we're looking for a breakout structure now, where we could actually have a head and shoulders pattern for the market to come back all the way there. Based on the momentum from the weekly and the daily, I don't think that this can happen, but we have to be reactive and not predictive. So for now, on the daily time frame, what I would like to see, I'd like to see maybe just a retest back into this area and for the market to continue pushing up to give us that third touch on 1, 2, and then a third touch area here on the weekly time frame. Okay, so that is how I'm going to be looking at GBPJPY this week. I hope that you guys trade cautiously. Whichever setup you decide to take, make sure that you understand which trend you're in. The overall trend is currently bullish, so I'm going to be looking for more buys than sells this coming week on GBPJPY. Okay, let's go on to gold. So on the monthly time frame, we're going to look at the monthly resistance that's there. Then we're going to go on to the smaller time frames just to understand what's going on, because at the moment we can currently see that we're actually quite bullish. Okay, so I'm going to draw 2 areas. I'm going to draw that as my support, and then I'm going to draw this here as my resistance here, because that's where we currently are. So last month closed below. If anything, we'd like to see some sells. Obviously, if this was exactly at the end of the month, you'd like to see some sells coming back into this area to give a wick, and then the market to continue pushing to the upside. So that's what I'm currently looking at in gold right now for the month. I do expect the market to actually break out and continue pushing to the upside, but that's obviously going to depend on what the market is doing on the smaller time frames. If we do get a situation where gold falls and comes down, we're looking at it coming back into these areas here to retest. If I take my fib from the high to the low, all right, could be getting the market coming back into these structures here to retest. That's only if my weekly time frame and my daily time frame starts telling me to sell. So I'm going to put this as my monthly TF potential, what is potential retest area. That's all I'm going to say for now. Okay. Going down to the weekly time frame. So monthly we can say we're bullish for now, but we do expect some kind of retracement because we're too bullish to be taking any, to be looking for entries for buys from a monthly time frame perspective. Okay. Now, if you take a look at the weekly, we can see that on the weekly time frame, there's the double bottom. We can call this a double bottom that we were talking about. Price was acting as resistance here. The market came back, tapped and turned it into support, came back again, tapped it into support. If we were looking at this as a reversal pattern over here, all right, the market did stretch out to come back into these areas here. But now what the market has done is that it has finally broken these highs here. It's broken all the structure here. I do expect the market to retest. Now, remember that on the monthly time frame, what I was saying is that the monthly time frame is showing overall buys, but we close below the monthly resistance. So if we close below the monthly resistance, there is an opportunity for the market to give us some sells first before later on in the month going for the high. So we'll probably end up with a wick and then a bullish candle going to the upside. But for now, looking at the weekly time frame, we are seeing that there's a possibility that the market might push to the downside as we have a strong impulsive movement breaking all these highs, breakup structure. Okay, if we do, again, if we take the flip from the high to the low, we do see that the market could potentially fall into these areas here. How do I know where exactly I want to look for the market to fall into? Well, first of all, I look at my fib. I look at the 0.5 and the 0.618. That's what I judge, and that is where the most activity is for me. All right, that's what I am looking at. So based on the way that I trade with the fibs, that's what I would personally be looking at. Okay, if we take a look at the weekly time frame, like I said, we've got a hangman candlestick over there. When we see this at resistance, we do expect the market to fall down. Okay, on the weekly time frame, I do see that the market could potentially fall down into these areas here. You could use these resistance areas that were broken previously to come back and retest. So if we do get confirmations for sales this week, I'll be looking for the market to tap into this area, and this area if possible. So these will be my first, second, and third take profits from a weekly time frame perspective if we do get those sales. Okay, let's actually keep those. Before we go on to the weekly time frame, what do I want to see from the weekly? I would potentially want to see a downtrend forming or a break of structure that supports the market going to the downside. If we don't see that, I can't be looking at any sales yet. The only confluences for sales that I have right now is that the market closed below the monthly resistance. We've got a hangman candlestick pattern, and then let's take a look at what the daily time frame has for us. Okay. Now, this here would have been perfect if the market had actually done something like this. If this last week had broken structure, then the market had come back here. Then I would definitely know that I will be selling this week, but we don't know that yet. So if you take a look at what we have here, is that you've got the market creating higher highs and higher lows and forming a perfect little uptrend over there. Okay, so from a daily time frame perspective, like I said, I do want to see some sales, but unless the market breaks structure. So what will my break of structure look like? I would like to see the market breaking this low here, all right, coming back for a retest, and then I'll be saying that, you know what, I might actually be looking at those. I might actually be looking at those sales now. I would like to add a trend into this. So this way, if we do add a trend, what we could be looking at is, I did see a weekly time frame resistance over here. So I showed you guys a scenario for buys that I would be looking for. If we do get, I showed you the sales. If we do get buys from a daily time frame, I would be looking for the market to form something like this. All right, so this will be my impulse movement. It's looking pretty similar to GJ. And then tap into this area, maybe Monday or Tuesday, I'm not sure. And then we get a break of structure. If we then get a break of structure, remember, that's when I'll then be selling my gold. But for now, gold is looking pretty bullish until we break structure to the downside. So third push, possibly get a third push. Watch how the market approaches this area on the 4 hour and the 1 hour. And then I'll be taking some shorts from there. If I want to take some shorts from here, what I would do is wait for a break of structure, retest, confirmation of a downtrend, and then I'll take some sales. First take profit, second take profit, and that will be my third take profit. So from a daily perspective, this is what I'm looking at currently on gold. All right, 4 hour. It's a bit of a small time frame to look at for a weekly forecast, but 4 hour, again, it is showing some sales. Here we've got a trend that was being formed. All right, that was a high, that was a low, that was a high, that was the low. We haven't broken this high. If we do manage to keep the structure here, the market might actually fall all the way through for Monday. Okay, but I'm going to be looking from a daily time frame perspective and obviously a weekly time frame perspective because this is a weekly forecast. Let's go on to the next thing. NASDAQ, US Tech, US 100, same thing. Okay. I have a resistance here. I have a support here. I have an impulsive movement here. The market came back for a retest. Can mark up these highs just to give a take profit if we do continue pushing to the upside, which I think we're going to continue doing. This would be a resistance, but let's just see how the weekly time frame reacts in this area here. Okay, so for now, for me, I'm just going to keep that there. It's not important from this time frame, but I'm just going to keep it there. Okay, so how did the market approach this area here? We had the market creating lower lows and lower highs. Okay, we have a little bit of a trend over there. So let's put this as our monthly time frame TP, monthly TFTP for buys. All right, and then this is the extended take profit. So what we're basically saying is that if this is an impulsive correction, for example, if this is an impulsive movement, all right, obviously it started over here, the correction, and then we've got the market doing something like this, the next impulse will come to the 90% and then come into this areas here. So that's what we can be looking forward to on DXY. We've got a break of structure from last week. If we do get some sales, all right, looking for the market to come into these areas here for a retest and then continue pushing to the upside, as I'm seeing that the monthly time frame is quite bullish, and we did retest. Okay, how did we retest? The reversal, the continuation pattern in this case. Daily time frame is also pretty bullish. Once we get that bearish candle, if we get that first bearish candle, that's when I'll then be able to take out my fib, and then I'll say from the low to the high of that bearish candle, and then I can measure how deep the retracement can be on NASDAQ for me to join these buys over here. Just want to go onto my line graph quickly. I'm not gonna lie, if NASDAQ can come down here, this will be a high probability setup. This here will be a very high probability setup on NASDAQ. So if we do get a bearish candle, let's say tomorrow or the next day, and then the market comes and taps back into these areas here, we're looking at a risk reward ratio of 1:9, because our stop loss will be below these wicks over here. If we do get that slightly below there, 1:8, 1:9 risk reward ratio. So this will mean I need a bottom wick, but I don't think it can happen as a bottom wick. What I do think is that we could get a bearish closure this week, and then the market can give us another candlestick and then go up. But let's take a look at the daily time frame again. 1, 2, yeah, it can give us 2. So if we get 2 bearish candlesticks coming back, or 3, and then 2 that just make sure that on the weekly time frame we do close bullish again, price can actually drive up. Okay, what happens if we don't get an entry over here? Now, if we take a look at this as a W, okay, this means that the market needs to continue pushing up before it can come back and retest and actually go up. How could you get re-entries, or how can you get entries if you're not in this movement? If you're like me and are not in this movement yet, okay, what I would do personally is that I would wait for the market to break a high, another high. If the market can break this high again, I'll be waiting for a retest into these areas, and then for the market to continue pushing up. That's the best thing that I can do at this point, because we are too impulsive. Okay, so if we can break another high and the market can possibly come give me another retest, because if you take a look at the 4H here, we broke these highs here, but we never retested. If we can come back for a retest, that would be great. The market doesn't give us a retest opportunity. All I'll be doing is that I'll be trading zones. So what this means is that I'll look for the next area of support and resistance. Once it breaks above and the candlestick closes above, I'll be taking a look at some buying opportunities, something like this. So my next region for buys will be above here. So if I turn back to my candlesticks, all I'll be looking for, let me see if there's an example. I'll be looking for this next candlestick, or whatever candlestick to close above. The next candlestick will have to give me a bottom wick, and then I continue with the movement to the upside. All right, that's NASDAQ. Let's move on to DXY. All right, so for DXY, again, I've got something on here because I was doing this with my mentorship this last week. This was beautiful for NFP. We already discussed that movement. Let's go on to the monthly time frame. Let me explain what it is that I was seeing from the monthly. All right, monthly time frame. We had a resistance here. Okay, the monthly time frame, we had a resistance here, first of all, and then we also had a support here. So when the market came up, it created a support here, came up, and then here it's what's been keeping the support. We've been basically trading above the whole year. All right, 1, 2, 3. That's a triple bottom. We've got the market pushing up. All right. When we traded this earlier on in the year, we looked at that as a reversal pattern. All right, market came down, reversal, boom, impulsive movement. What have we currently done? We have currently broken a high. We need the market to come back and retest. On the weekly time frame, what we did was wait for the first bearish candlestick. After we got the first bearish candlestick, we then measured from the high to the low, so we can determine where price could possibly or potentially come to. Right, we actually measured back into these areas here, this resistance here. So I'm going to keep this one, but I'm also going to duplicate, and I'm also going to put this resistance over here. Okay, because those are my areas of sensitivity. Then what we want to do is now do the weekly time frame breakdown. From the weekly time frame, what we've been working with, the range that we've been working with is this one. As you can see, the market came up, and the market came up. Let's do this. It failed. It was failing to break these highs over here. Then we went into smaller time frames, obviously started looking for sells. Okay, so from the weekly, you've got this high here, and you've got this resistance here. When broken, it wasn't turned into support. Exact same thing with here. When this area here was retested, Let me extend this. All right, because here you had a little downtrend. The market came above, broke above, retested with a candlestick, came back, went above, broke. So this is a very strong area of sensitivity. So if the market comes into this area, we might be looking at a situation where the market will break below, retest on a smaller time frame, and continue pushing to the downside on the DXY. So we've got a weekly resistance over there. The range that we're currently working on the weekly time frame is this one, and that movement was started last week by NFP. Okay, so I'm going to put this as weekly EOS. All right, let's do this. Let's do that. Let's put it at the right. Let's do that. Daily time frame. Can we get a retest? All right, daily time frame. We've got something interesting that was going on here. All right, I just want to replay this quickly. I did explain this to my mentorship too. All right, so here, what you can see is that you had a break of structure here. But take a look at how long it took for the market to actually to respect that break of structure. It only happened last week for NFP. When I say respect that break of structure, I mean respect the fact that it had to go down. All right, so it was consolidating. The market only broke structure last week for NFP when we actually broke here. So we actually followed the actual movement to the downside only. It happened on in October 10th, 11th. This area here, 10th, but we only actually followed that last week on Friday for NFP. So for DXY, I do expect a continuation to the downside even on the weekly, but first I need the market to give me a top wick here on the weekly and then continue to push down, which means that on the smaller time frames like the daily time frame, I would see candles coming back into this area. On the 4H, I would like to see a constructive correction. All right, a proper correction coming back into this area, and then I'll continue with the sells to the downside. Okay, that is what I'm seeing for this week. I hope you enjoyed this forecast. I tried to make it as educational as possible. Please do like, comment, and subscribe, and also let me know if you'd like me to continue with the weekly forecasts and upload them on YouTube every single Sunday. Hope you guys have a great week and a profitable week. Please only take high probability setups. It is November, like I said, so not everything is going to play out. So use setups that you've seen playing out before, and that is going to increase your win rate this week. So I hope you guys have a great day. God bless.